was just checking out this little begonia next to me. My name is Katie and I work at the California Academy of Sciences, but I'm here now at the Conservatory of Flowers, one of the gardens of Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. One thing that I recently learned about begonias is that many of them have asymmetrical leaves, which means if you were to fold the leaf in half, it would look different on both sides. I also learned that there are over 2,000 species of begonia all around the world, mostly in tropical locations. 2 of the biggest begonia species are endemic to the island of Sao Tome, which is here in the Gulf of Guinea off the coast of Western Africa. Let's head back to the California Academy of Sciences to learn more about them in our botanical collections. Let's go. All right, we are here at the California Academy of Sciences in our herbarium, or our botany collections. And we're here today with Dr. Tom Daniel, who is the Emeritus Curator of Botany. So Tom, we've got a lot of collections here at the Academy, right?
We do have a lot of collections here. In fact, the Academy being the oldest scientific institution in the Western United States, we've had numerous expeditions to various places over our years. And one of the main expeditions was about 100 years ago, 120 years ago now, the 1905-1906 expedition to the Galapagos Islands. So the Academy's had an interest in islands for a long time.
A really long time.
That's
wow.
right. That expedition lasted for over a year. And in the 21st century, one of our major series of expeditions has been to the islands in the Gulf of Guinea on the west coast of Africa. And on the islands of Sao Tome and Principe, which we've concentrated our efforts on, we've made 9 or 10 expeditions so far. And I, being a botanist who's interested in tropical plants for the most part, I've been on 4 of those expeditions that were terrestrial or land-based expeditions, collecting and studying both the flowering plants and ferns on those islands. One of the interesting things about oceanic islands like these is you often find plants that are endemic to the islands. That means they occur on the island and nowhere else in the world.
Wow.
And on Sao Tome, we have quite a few of these endemics. And one of the endemics we want to talk about today is in the genus Begonia.
Yes, we are here to talk about begonias. And some of us may be familiar with begonias. They're kind of popular in homes and in gardens. But the ones in Sao Tome are really special.
They are special. On Sao Tome, there are 8 different species of begonia. And 4 of them are endemic to the islands, which means they occur there and nowhere else in the world. And 2 of these are very special because they show a phenomenon, they demonstrate this phenomenon called island gigantism.
Ooh, okay,
let's take a look at that.
Yes, and we've got the collections here, right?
Let's get some of those out of the collections here.
Wow. It's a lot.
And let's set these up.
Yeah.
So you can see them.
Okay, so we have in front of us here some specimens from our herbarium of those 2 gigantic begonias that are found on Sao Tome. Can you tell us a little bit more about what makes each of those species unique?
Sure. Well, first of all, these species, unlike most begonias, which are low succulent plants that we think of in our cultivated gardens, these have become giants. They're shrub to almost tree-like, and they appear almost woody, like small trees. They attain heights up to 5 meters. That's over 16 feet tall. Wow. Which makes them probably the largest begonias in the world.
Wow.
Their leaves are also large and their flowers are also large. And that's why we call this island gigantism, that these demonstrate that phenomenon. The 2 species that do this gigantism in Sao Tome, they're both endemic to the islands, which means they only occur there. And they differ in characters that are a little bit difficult to see here. But this one, which is called Begonia crateris, has very hairy stems and leaves. Now, you can't really see that on the specimens here, but there are images that show that. And the leaf stalks, where the leaf stalk joins the leaf blade, is not right on the margin of the leaf, but actually internal to the margin. Now, if we look at the other giant species of begonia, the stems and the leaves are very sparsely pubescent, and the leaf stalk, shown here, joins the leaf at the margin. Now, the margin does an indentation here, but the leaf stalk joins the leaf right at the margin, whereas on Craterus, this leaf stalk comes in and is internal to the margin. The margin does come in here, but this is actually on the back side of the blade of the leaf. And so there are other differences between these that are a little bit more subtle to see, and they have to do with the length of the stalks of flowers and fruits. But these two species have characters that distinguish them, and they're both giants.
Yeah, they sound really big.
And there are images that you can see here that show this. Now, there are other species of begonias on the island, but none of them attain the size of leaves or of stature of the plant, the habit of the plant, that these two giants do.
Wow, so I'm noticing as you've been talking about some of these similarities and differences between the species, all of these specimens here have tags with information. They have, it looks like, a little bit of data about where the specimen was collected, when it was collected, perhaps one of the expeditions you were mentioning earlier. And looking around us right now, down here in the botanical collections at the Academy, we have a lot of cabinets with a lot of specimens.
About 2.5 million specimens here in the Academy's herbarium, which is one of the largest herbaria in the United States. Why do we make these collections?
Yeah.
What are they used for? And what does this information on the labels show us? Well, we make these collections to document what species of plants are out there, where they occur, and what information we can obtain about them that will help us understand plants in their ecosystem. And so we collect these plants. Instead of taking our light microscopes, our scanning electron microscopes, and our DNA sequencers out in the field, we collect the plants in the field, we take notes on them there, bring them back and make them into permanent specimens mounted on permanent paper and store them in the collection so they can be studied as a group. In other words, we're not just studying individual specimens, but we're looking at specimens from throughout the range of the species. And we do that to find these morphological differences that allow us to recognize species. Now, that's important because we want to know what different species occur on the planet,
Sure.
And that's how we do that. Now, the information on the labels here provides additional information. For example, the habitat of the species, whether it's in a rainforest or a desert or a dry forest. Also, information about when it flowers and fruits. Mm-hmm. Also, if we make observations in the field on pollinators or floral visitors, we can record that information here. And all of this allows us to better understand what plants are in the ecosystem, how they relate to other species in the ecosystem by taking DNA samples and doing DNA analysis to see relationships, and also how they fit into the ecosystem. And the good news about this is it helps us to understand what is in an ecosystem, how the ecosystem functions, and it gives us information that allows us to know how we can help protect ecosystems, to provide useful scientific knowledge, and to provide information that helps us understand how ecosystems work so that we can help protect them. And that's something that we're all interested in doing to make an environmentally important decisions about what we do.
Absolutely. I mean, here at the Academy, our mission is to regenerate the natural world through science, learning, and collaboration. And collaboration is such a big piece. And like you said, all of these collections that we have going into our database are accessible by people all around the world, not just here at the Academy, but scientists kind of worldwide. So all of the information that we're learning about here, we can share that so we can better protect the world that we live in.
And it expands this collection of 2.5 million by millions more because other herbaria do this, and we share the data, and therefore we can work on not just a few specimens of this, but all of the ones from all over the world that have been gathered that are databased and imaged, and we can see those and we can make more and better scientific assessments of what's going on our planet.
Fantastic, like the biggest library of life that there ever was.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tom Daniel, for talking with us today and sharing your experiences on Sao Tome and telling us a little bit more about these incredible begonias.
My pleasure.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.